would you write this order? I want to have this test done.
Yep.
My cardiologist, who only looks at LDL, and that's all he cares about, that and total. And I'm like, I don't give a crap about my LDL. We're looking at the particles. You used to look at the particles, doctor. Yeah, we don't do that test anymore. Sure, because you want to write the statin prescription.
Right.
That's
you
what you want to write.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Or you have a quota because you're with Piedmont. I'm not going to mention his name so he doesn't get into trouble. He did save my life. He put a stent in my major artery, and thank God everything's been good. But that's the way they do it. So it's like, I just can't do this. I don't want to see these doctors.
Yep.
It's only to get blood work or a test if something seems to be wrong. I just have no faith in them. And it's just really terrible that you have to be your own advocate. I mean, you're really fighting the system. I mean, it's not only that you have to be, educated about it, but you actually have to argue the case.
Yeah, act on it, yeah.
Yes, you have to argue the case. And as we spoke earlier, my stent was almost 23 years ago. And the last annual visit I had with the doctor, I said, well, I think I'm winning this argument because I've said no to you on the statins, and here I am. Without
22,
we're not back in
later,
we're not back in the emergency room, thank God. I mean, that doesn't mean we don't know what tomorrow will bring, but that could be with the statin also, So it's just really a bad system. I mean, and let's get to Kennedy a little bit on this. He understands that the American diet is awful. You are what you eat.
Absolutely.
60% of Americans are overweight. I forget what the percentage is of being morbidly obese. I was at an event that had a lot of children yesterday. It was the Nutcracker, and I'm watching these kids with the Skittles, and I'm like, well, I guess you parents like to. I'm sorry.
Actually, speaking of which.
You like. Okay, but petroleum. I mean, the children are eating petroleum. Yeah.
I've given up a lot of that. A lot of that was actually ahead, and feel free to help yourself.
Okay.
These are some of my mom's.
I went off of sugar when I heard Bobby Kennedy speak to Mark Hyman, who's a functional medicine. It was while he was on the campaign. Nobody wanted to interview him from mainstream media. So we had a lot of podcasts to watch. I was on staff, started as a volunteer, as a fundraiser, which is how I met you, Jacob. And one of the podcasts was with Mark Hyman, who's a functional medicine doctor. He doesn't have a practice anymore up in Lenox, Massachusetts. And they had a big dialogue about how to eat right and whatever. And so now he doesn't see patients anymore, but he started a business. And I do think that Dr. Hyman is involved with Kennedy in some consulting way. I'm not really sure. I follow Maha, but not in depth. And so anyway, he runs this company called Function Health. He offers, I'm giving him a plug because I actually did try this last year, was $499. You went to Quest. It was all prepaid for that.
Yep.
And they did a test of 100 markers. You had to come twice because they took 17 vials of blood.
Wow.
And you couldn't do that in one sitting. So, and then a doctor reviewed all the results. If you were high or low, they wrote in there what could be the cause and why you should have a follow-up. I wasn't so happy about that because my LDL does run high, and they did sort of stick with the standard, you know. And I honestly, from listening to a lot of these functional medicine doctors and cardiologists, they don't care about the LDL. I mean, I didn't just decide not to worry about the LDL.
Right.
It's based on what these functional medicine doctors feel
Second
about
opinions, right?
Yes, exactly. So anyway, and then you come back 6 months later and they run 60 of the 100 markers for $499. And if you were on I'm talking about Medicare, but even just regular health care, they might not cover many of these tests, and they're important. Insulin resistance, inflammation, these are the markers that, you really want these numbers to be in line. Right. They are really important. And then our food supply, when I heard this, so there was a podcast And this doctor, I'm also pretty sure he's working with Kennedy. He's a British, I think he may be originally from India, but he's British, living in Britain. And he's one of the top cardiologists. So these doctors I've really been following, even without Kennedy having a podcast. So his name is Aseem Malhotra. And he totally thinks statins are a complete waste.
Yep.
Only for a very select, group
Yep.
of people. They are completely useless.
The exception, not the rule.
Right. So, of course, I liked him. I was following, why he felt that way. And so, these are the things. So the podcast that I first saw him on was Mark Hyman and Dr. Malhotra. And so Mark Hyman said, so what would you tell your patients to do? He said, well, the first thing is diet. And he's